Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing something really special. This is the SH Figuarts Monkey D. Luffy, and it's been so long since the last Figuarts One Piece figure that we might as well just call this 1.0, because it's not even worth talking about the previous ones. Now, this is a brand new line of figures. Effectively, it's a brand new start for the One Piece Figuarts line, and they are doing pretty much exclusively current arc One Piece stuff, and they are naming the figures as such because it gives them a chance to go back later and do like pre-time skip versions of the characters if they so choose, and I think that that's actually quite clever. So right now we've got post-time skip Luffy. This is specifically Wano Luffy. It's Monkey D. Luffy, the raid on Onigashima. I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure I'm fairly correct, but I am so far behind on One Piece that it doesn't matter what I think, because I'm not going to be here for a very, very long time. Anyway, this is the first Figuarts One Piece figure released in a very long time. It is a very standard release, much like the Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku and the Jinchuriki Entrusted with Hope Naruto that was released last year. They are simple figures and fairly affordable figures, but they get the job done and are a great starting point for any collection. Now, taking a quick look at the box, you can see there's the standard SH Figuarts style, which is clear window into the figure, promo image on the side. On the other side, it's got comic book panels, not too dissimilar to the way they do it with the Dragon Ball figures, which is interesting. On the back are a bunch of different promo images. On the other side is Luffy's name, as well as a slight clear window and another promo image. And on the bottom is one more promo image with Luffy's face on the front. And once you fold it out from the side, it completes the promo image, and I think it makes the figure look quite nice. Now, taken out of the box, you can see Luffy comes with 4 faces as well as 6 hands. So he's got fists, flat hands, as well as sort of action pose hands, which you can use for a bunch of different things. And he also comes with swappable parts for his hair, and you can basically swap him from having the hat on or off. Unfortunately, the figure is missing a major accessory, and I'll talk about it now, which is it doesn't come with a strap to attach the straw hat to his back or anything like that, so he cannot have the straw hat just resting around his neck and resting on his back, which sucks because that is a pretty major part to Luffy's design, and it feels like the figure's missing something, which is exactly that. So it'd be nice if they include another straw hat with another figurine release at some point, or they just intend to release more Luffy figures down the line, because I know we've already got a Gear 5 on the horizon, and they are probably going to milk the crap out of this line, and I am all for it. Anyway, taken out of the box, you can see that the Luffy looks quite good. It is quite hard to replicate One Piece designs in figurine form, especially posable figurines, and I think they've done a pretty good job here. Now, it does compromise the posability of the figure a little bit, but I think it's sort of like a first draft, and we'll get better figures from here on out. So it's got all the essential details. He's got his sort of flowing red dress shirt. I don't know what you'd really call it. He's got the sort of asymmetrical scar on his chest. He's got the straw hat. The straw hat even has the scars on the correct areas that it should. He's got a scar under his eye. All the face details are good across all faces. He's got a sash around his waist. He's got cropped pants with this sort of like fluffiness at the end of it. He's got sandals or flip-flops or thongs, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, it's just all the essential details of Luffy. It looks like Luffy, it reads as Luffy, and for the most part his faces also read as Luffy, but I do have a gripe with at least one of them. But generally it is a nice looking figure. There is very minimal paint and very minimal shading, but there is enough to make the figure look pretty damn good. There's no paint errors or sculpting issues on my figure, none that I could notice at least, and I think it's just a pretty damn solid release. Now we'll do a quick size comparison. So here's Luffy up against the Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku, and you can see they stand at a pretty similar height, and here he is next to the Naruto Jinchuriki Entrusted with Hope. And again, they all stand at very similar heights, and this is sort of my big 3. Especially Dragon Ball and Naruto, those are the ones that I really properly grew up with, Dragon Ball especially, And whenever people talked about the big three while I was growing up, it was always Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. None of this Bleach nonsense. And Demon Slayer was not even a factor at that point, and wasn't even written at all when I was growing up. So that's really not part of the equation. I know the big three changes all the time, but it's always been in my mind Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. And it's kind of weird that even in 2023 we're still getting manga for all of them, technically. Although I'd say One Piece is the only one that's still sort of true to it still getting a release, whereas Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball Super and it's doing movie stuff right now, and Naruto is Boruto right now. Although we did get a one-shot not that long ago, which was actually really good. So posability on the figure is pretty good, but it's also a little bit weird. So he's got a ball joint at the head and neck, which allows for a crazy range of motion, but you got to be careful of it because the straw hat does pop off pretty easily. So he can look up that far and down that far. He's got a sort of double hinged sort of system at his arm. It's really weird, and you need to work at it in different ways to get the arm in different poses, and it is sort of due to how the body is designed to sort of complement the One Piece style. And once you play around with it a bit, it's pretty fine. It just seems a bit weird, and it does make some slightly concerning squeaking noises. But when you work at it, you can get it in all sorts of dynamic poses. There's a swivel at the upper arm, a double bend at the elbow. You can swivel the arm at the end of the shirt, which I hope it means that we'll be able to get swappable haki parts at some point. There's a ball hinge at the wrist. There's a crazy deep ab crunch, which is great, and makes him look up and down pretty damn far. There's a sort of side to side at the waist. I think it's a ball at the sash. He can kick forward this far and back that far, which isn't too bad, but isn't too great either. His knee can bend back just a little bit, but it is blocked by his pants cuffs. But it is generally enough to get a decent amount of posability. The leg can swivel at the upper thigh. There's a ball hinge at the heel, and you can do pivots and bends and all sorts. There's a toe bend, and it takes the sandal with it, which I think is a great aesthetic choice. There is a waist rotation, and if you can get the arms working just right, you can sort of get a butterfly, but it's not like a standard butterfly. It's just sort of mimicked based on that weird double hinge thing. But overall, the posability's pretty okay. One of the things that is annoying is that knee bend, especially since there is a pinned in part for a sort of like a collapsible part of the pants, but it's sort of like glued together and it doesn't work. But even if it did work, you wouldn't get much out of it. So Luffy's got 4 faces out of the box. He's got a stern looking forward face. He's got a teeth gritted angry face, which is asymmetrical and I quite like it. He's got a smiling open mouth face, and I don't really like that face that much. It doesn't really read as Luffy. It's like a weird sort of serious smile thing. I don't like the look that much. And my favorite face is his comedic screaming face with eyes bulging out. Looks a little bit weird front on, but when you put it to the side, looks absolutely perfect. I love the sweat dripping off his side as well. But the face looks absolutely incredible. It's fantastic. Love it. It's everything it needs to be. You can also swap out the hair parts to take off the straw hat and make a more cohesive head sculpt. And all of those faces are compatible with this head sculpt as well. And because of that, you can get several new options. All of the faces are compatible with that hairstyle, and the straw hat has nowhere to go, which kind of sucks. But because of that, you can get some cool poses of him holding the hat in different ways, or having just standard action poses and seeing his full hair. But I'm sure someone is already working on or already made a little strap for his straw hat so he can be more accurate to the character. But yeah, it is what it is. You can get decently good articulation and action poses out of this figure. And while my poses I don't think are nearly as good as they should be, I think I did a pretty good job overall to showcase what you can get out with just a little bit of effort. Would have liked a more deep bend of the knees and or neck, so you could get like a proper Gear 2 pose, because that's a pretty iconic pose for Luffy. But if they do a pre-time skip figure further down the line, I'm sure we'll get that. But yeah, he's just a pretty solid figure, a very standard release as expected. Would have been nice to have like a slightly stretchy part or a hucky part or something like that, but I understand why he doesn't come with that. And it is a little bit concerning that every single One Piece figure in the line has a face for the base Luffy. I understand brand cohesion and everything like that, and I know that it is a problem with the Dragon Ball line with the Ultimate Gohan stuff for Superhero, although all of those DLC type parts were included with premium Bandai releases, so they were a more premium product and a more sought after thing. Whereas every single One Piece figure will come with a face for Luffy, and I can imagine people that don't have the Luffy just getting all these accessories for Luffy and sort of being like pretty meh about the whole thing. Like if they only wanted the Zoro and he comes with a face for Luffy, then what do you do with that? Or the Yamato, they come with a face for Luffy and it's the really good One Piece smile face. And if you don't like Yamato but you really want that face, I think that that's a problem. I really like the Kaido's alternate faces, but I don't care too much about Kaido at the moment because I don't know anything about him really. And the price point is a little bit too high, even though he is a large figure. I'm scared about what accessories the Gear 5 Luffy will have, what Trafalgar Law will have. Are they going to do a Captain Kidd? Is he going to have a crazy mechanical arm? Are we going to get other Straw Hat members? Is Frankie going to come? Is Frankie going to have die-cast metal? Is Frankie going to have accessories? Is all sorts of crazy things. Is Jinbei going to come? Are we going to get even more characters? Are they going to try and do a Big Mom if we're doing Kaido? There's just so many variables that can happen with this line, and it's a little scary, but also pretty cool. I'd like them to just scale back just a little bit and do all of the Straw Hats and then branch out from there. I understand they're also doing the live-action Netflix figures. I have no interest in getting those, especially since the line looks a bit funky right now. But there is a ton of potential for these figures, and if they do as half a good job as they did with the Dragon Ball and Naruto lines, especially the Naruto line right now, then we're in it for the long haul and we'll get tons of really cool figures. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video and I will see you all next time.